Hugues Quiéret was a French nobleman, admiral and military commander. He was a knight, lord of Tours-en-Vimeu and of Hammercourt, in Picardy. Before becoming an admiral, he had been an advisor, chamberlain, Grand Master of France, then the Seneschal of Beaucaire and Nîmes from 1325 to 1332. He was made an admiral, then captain of Tournai, then an admiral of France. After several victories, he commanded the French fleet at the Battle of Sluys in 1340, during the 100 Years' War between France and England, and was wounded, captured and beheaded by the English family. Hugues's father was also called Hugues. He was a knight and the lord of Duriez and François. The Quiéret family claimed descent from lords in Picardy, although no genealogy can be produced. They bore a coat of arms blazoned as ermine, 3 fleurs de lis at the foot, fed gules, 2 lions for supporters, originating in Hugues Quiéret's marriage in 1312 to Blanche d'Harcourt. Blanche's grandfather, Jean II d'Harcourt, known as the Doughty, was a marshal of France from 1283 and one of the first admirals of France. From 1295, Hugues and Blanche had several children. Career: Sénéchal de Beaucaire and Nîmes. Hugues Quiéret was made Sénéchal of Beaucaire, an important port for galleys, and of Nîmes. He was given orders to escort the Comtesse de Blois from Montpellier to the Château de Corbeil. He was involved in the Gascony War in 1326 and signed a sentence on 8 May 1332 suppressing the fair at Montagnac. Admiral under the reign of Philip VI of France, the post of Admiral of France had been reformed, and ceased to be assigned to foreigners, as had previously been the case, and was instead granted to Quiéret as a prominent French noble on 7 December 1335. This did not make him supreme commander of the French fleet, however, but instead the subordinate of Raoul II de Brienne, the Constable of France and Captain General above and before all others of the Army of the Sea, even if Raoul proved a non-entity. Quiéret sought help from the Count of Flanders in 1336 with the galleys of the Levant. Quiéret was good at organizing the fleet, playing a large part in improving the arsenals at Lury and at the Clos des Galles. However, he was to prove better at organization than at actual naval combat. Invasion of England. The provinces promised to provide ships to invade England. These ships' aim was to join up with the French king's ships and transport 4,000 men at arms to England, the whole force being known as the Grand Army of the Sea. Preparations were put underway for this expedition in Harfleur and Lury. The latter had been established in the High Middle Ages on the seashore of the Seine and on a loop formed by the course of the Lézarde, winding through and joining up the marshlands of the estuary, to the southwest of Harfleur. The preparations are evidenced by a command of 8 November 1338 in which Quiéret commissioned Thomas Fouquet's custodian of the Park of the Galleys of the King, which installation was then at Rouen, to buy at any price the weapons which the mercenaries gathered at Lury and Harfleur had sold off to merchants, and which he proposed they instead take on the expedition. However, the most important document on the preparations is the quittance of 2 July 1338, which proved the fleet used gunpowder, the first documentation of French naval artillery. The Collection des Chroniques Nationales Françaises writes, it continues, Quiéret also burned English ships at Bristol and Plymouth. Battle of Arnhem-Ueden. The Battle of Arnhem-Ueden was a naval battle on 23 September 1338, at the start of the 100 Years' War, featuring a vast French fleet under Admirals Hugues Quiéret and Nicolas Behuchet against a small squadron of 5 great English cogs transporting an enormous cargo of wool to the Count of Flanders, ally of Edward III of England. It occurred near Arnhem-Ueden, the port of the island of Walcheren in the Netherlands. Overwhelmed by the superior numbers and with some of their crew still on shore, the English ships fought bravely, especially the Christopher with its 3 cannon and 1 handgun under the command of John Kingston, who was also commander of the squadron. Kingston only surrendered after a day's fighting and exhausting every means of defense. The French captured the rich cargo and took the 5 cogs into their fleet, but massacred the English prisoners. The chronicles write, Hugues Quiéret was then made captain of Tournai in 1339. Battle of Sluys. The chronicles write, on the 24th of June 1340, the Battle of Sluys in the Zwin estuary pitched the numerically dominant French fleet against 250 English ships commanded by Edward III. This was the first major battle of the 100 Years' War. Besides 40 Mediterranean galleys with experienced Genoese crews led by the mercenary Pietro Barbavera, the French also had 20 cockers crewed by 200 men-at-arms and around 130 merchant and fishing ships, each with 50 soldiers on board. This made a total of around 30,000 men. The English fleet had 250 ships, 15,000 soldiers and an unknown number of crewmen. The French fleet was commanded by Quiéret and Behuchet, but they were administrators ordered in principle merely to guarantee an army's safe passage, not frontline fighting sailors. They were ordered to stop Edward's army landing and deployed their fleet in 3 lines from one river bank to the other. Except for 4 cogs and the Genoese ships, all the ships in the 3 rows were chained together. On the morning of the 24th of June the English appeared. At midday, borne down by the tide and wind, they attacked. The French crossbowmen had the initiative but were quickly outmatched by the Welsh longbowmen's speed of fire. After the fleets met there was fierce hand-to-hand fighting. Quiéret and Behuchet tried to surround Edward's ship, the cog Thomas, and Behuchet was wounded in the chest. Some sources have Quiéret drowning during the battle, but others state he was captured and immediately beheaded despite his wounds by the English. In vengeance for the massacre he had allowed at Arnhem-Ueden 2 years earlier, with his body being thrown into the sea. In the afternoon, thanks to a change in the wind direction, the Flemish fleet was able to leave the river bank and join the battle. Panic gripped the French fleet, having no way to escape other than to swim for it. 17 to 20,000 French soldiers were killed and only Barbavera and half the Genoese managed to escape. The battle marked the French fleet's destruction and decisive defeat. Bibliography. Buckhone, Jean-Alexandre C. Collection des Chroniques Nationales Français. Écrits en langue vulgaire d'outre-mer aussi cycli. Avec notes et éclaircissements, collection of French national chronicles written in the vernacular of the 13th to the 16th century, with notes and explanations. Verdier, A. J. Carrez. Retrieved 6 July 2013. Jones, Michael, McKitterick, Rosamond, eds. The New Cambridge Medieval History, Volume 6, c. 1300 c. 1415. Cambridge. Cambridge University Press. ISBN 978-0-521-36290-0. Retrieved 5 July 2013. Kibbeler, William W., Zinn, Grovery, Henneman Jr., John Bell, Lawrence, eds. Medieval France. An Encyclopedia. Taylor and Francis. ISBN 978-0-8240-4444-2. Retrieved 5 July 2013. Mortimer, Ian. The Perfect King. The Life of Edward III, Father of the English Nation. London. Jonathan Cape. ISBN 978-0224-07301-1. Retrieved 5 July 2013. Dickey, Ian. Doherty, Martin J. Justice, Phyllis G. Jurgensen, Krista, Rice, Rob S. Fighting Techniques of Naval Warfare. Strategy, Weapons, Commanders, and Ships. 1190 BC, present. St. Martin's Press. ISBN 978-0-312-55453-8. Retrieved 5 July 2013. Nicholas A. M. Roger. The Safeguard of the Sea. In Naval History of Britain. 660-16491. New York. W. W. Norton and Company. ISBN 978-0-393-31960-6. Retrieved 5 July 2013.